All right, so what is the story we're going to tell you tonight? We're going to tell you about the Build 2015 highlights. So Build is Microsoft's big conference that they host in San Francisco. It's a 2 to 3 day event where they just kind of overwhelm you with a whole bunch of information. So I and Lori had the difficult job of kind of condensing all this material down and getting the important bits that will be of interest to you guys, hopefully, and that you can kind of do further, further learning from on your own. So here we go. This is me. My name's Tom Walker. I'm the founder of Women.net Developer Group. I just recently changed roles. I'm now actually the senior architect, senior mobile architect. My title keeps changing. Go viral. So I think I've settled on mobile. I've come from like a back-end web to mobile. And I think I've kind of decided on this for a short term, see how it goes. Still working on my Xamarin certification. And Lori promised to get after me if I didn't get that done. So that's a little bit about me. Okay, so here's the agenda. Looks like we've got a little bit of cutoff here. Let's go back. Alright, it just bugs me. There we go. There we go. So the agenda we're going to talk about, basically I picked 3 things. I picked Windows 10. So it's going to be basically, we're going to look at the OS, the new features there, the developer story, and then we're going to move on to Azure. So there's lots to talk about there. Basically the big story coming out was the concept of containers. And then we'll go into the new app services. And then the latest and greatest NoSQL database that Microsoft has created, which is UWP. And then we'll go off into the Internet of Things. So we're looking at basically running all of the Windows 10 on Raspberry Pi. And then the other things we've got going is the Azure IoT services. So the big thing nowadays is these devices don't have any kind of security. So you need to think about having a provider to provide that for you. And Microsoft's got that story there. And we'll go a little bit about that. And then last we'll talk about the connected cow. Yes, the connected cow. The cows are on the web now. Okay, so we're going to get into Windows 10 overview. So the top 3 features, so basically I looked at it and I thought, okay, well, what are the things that people are going to be talking about with Windows 10? And right up top of the list is Cortana. Next thing is the new, well, I should say the old new start menu that's come back, that everyone really wanted, and it's back, and it's a little different, and so we'll go through that. And then the last thing is Continuum. The Continuum story has changed a little bit, so we'll go into that. Okay. So, the big news is we now have this concept of Cortana, which is a personalized digital assistant that's now on the desktop. And now, just like with the latest news from E3, we're now seeing it move into Xbox. So you're not going to be saying Xbox, capture an image on my video game. It's going to be Cortana. I'm hoping that we can change that because it can be very confusing. You go into your house, Cortana please, and then you have 10 different devices go off. So hopefully we can change that. So let's jump into Cortana because you'll probably want to see that in action. So I'm going to add that in the presentation here. So I've got Cortana set up. So this is Cortana set up on my Windows 10 for the Canadian region. So it does work for the Canada region. What I've got here on the sides here is we got the new concept of, so this is the thing. Microsoft calls it the split view or the split layout. That's that control that you're seeing right there with the buttons on the side. Most people nowadays or in the web call it the hamburger menu. So you can go either or. So what we've got is, right here, we've got our settings. We can go in and we can basically turn off Cortana. Now, here's the thing. If you want to turn off Cortana, you don't want it collecting all your information. Fantastic. Go here, turn it off. And all the other devices you have set up. Okay? Unfortunately, there's no global setting for Cortana. Okay? So I'm hoping we'll get that fixed. The other thing too is if you want to remove your personalized information, you'll have to go into your account and remove it from there. Having said that, again, make sure you turn off Cortana on all your devices, because if one device is still set up, it'll refresh the data. Okay? So keep that in mind. The other thing too is you can go into the concept. So Cortana has the concept of a notebook. So she can't connect right now. So basically, she connects online to the notebook of you, basically, all your information, where you live, your work address, all that. So you can actually train her on some of that to make it more question. I can connect to the Wi-Fi. Is it free? Oh.
KPL open.
It's KPL mini.
Okay. See what happens. Of course. Yes. You want my clipboard. No problem. Yeah, awesome. Let's go in here. Let's see. It's the notebook. Okay. So this is the notebook of me. So it's got, right now it probably doesn't have much information here, but I can kind of add to that things that are interesting to me. So what that does is that kind of translates into this area here. So we're kind of moving into the start menu, but as you see these things, these tiles now in the start menu, those get activated with Cortana information. So that's where that whole information is being fed into. I personally enjoy it. Your mods can do it. Let's get back. Okay, so that is Cortana. And we walk into the start menu. So, everyone happy with the start menu here? No? Yeah? No? Not sure? Would rather have the Windows 10, or sorry, the Windows 7 start menu? Personally, I'm always looking for the new, so I'm actually kind of excited about this. For me, it's when I look back to the number of people that I've gone to and visited their desktops, I see the sea of icons on the desktop. I don't know, I tend to like this better, it's a little bit more organized. But the nice thing about this is I can customize this. So I can make this bigger, smaller, however I want. I can remove the tiles if I don't want to see them, so you can customize that. So that's a good thing. And now we're going to talk about Continuum. So Continuum is the concept of, so this device I've got here right now is what they call, I want to say it's a 5-in-1, but it's more of a 2-in-1. So right now it's in this laptop mode. So if I were to take that monitor and switch it to the underneath the keyboard, it becomes a tablet. So what Continuum is that transition from the desktop mode, which is the start menu and all that, to the original Windows 8 start page, which is that we're seeing there. So if I were to bring up the settings, you'll see an option there called tablet mode. That's Continuum. So basically I can actually tap that button and turn that feature on and off. So that's the one part of Continuum. So you don't have this, boom, you're in the Windows 8 experience. You can kind of control that experience. So I think this is a better experience because a lot of people wanted to have that desktop experience. So this is that Continuum is the nice transition from desktop to tablet and tablet back. And then what's happened recently with the announcements from Bill, Continuum has, the story for that has expanded. So now the idea is, I come into my work office or home, I plug in my phone, this is 1520. Actually, the one they're going to release soon is going to have a beefier CPU. So basically, I plug it in, that becomes my computer. So basically, I've got a docking station with Bluetooth capabilities hooked up to a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and away I go. I have my office experience on there. I can do my work there. So for the traveling executive, salesperson, they basically carry their computer with them. So that's a good experience as well. My hope, what it does is it'll enable cheaper computers for people that can't necessarily afford the laptop. So students and whatnot. That's kind of where I'm seeing some of this come to be. But it's still at the early stages. But that announcement got me excited. Okay. So the question is, when will Windows 10 be released? I think everyone knows it by now. That's going to be July 29th. So the question, who here has seen the little icon in the system tray? Okay. You guys like it? Don't like it? Yeah? No, this is you kind of went in there and clicked on it and said, yeah, sure, I'll reserve my copy of Windows 10. The nice thing about that feature too is you can actually explore it, you can actually do some compatibility tests so that, if you're going to make that transition, because what's happening is once you reserved it, it's actually downloading bits over time. So it's not going to be that one big, massive 3 gig download. So over time, it's going to download the bits into your computer, and then once that date hits, they'll release the final bits and they'll activate that itself. So probably the best thing I would recommend is do some detective work, some housekeeping work, kind of make sure that all your applications are going to work fine, so you have the best experience as possible. So, I will say the current version, so I'm running 10.1.30 on this device. The developer bits are still a little unstable. Every once in a while I do get errors, and I do have to kind of restart the system. That's to be expected because there's different teams trying to kind of hit that same target and compile all the bits as they release. And this here, the reason why I mentioned this page here too, is if you have any kind of questions or know someone that has questions on Windows 10, direct them to this page here. I will provide the slides to Lori after so you can get all this information. So basically this is a FAQ on Windows 10. The question I keep getting asked about, mainly from developers, is not about development tools, it's will it play my games? And the answer is yes. There you go. Most important question answered. All right, so the nice thing about it too is if you want to explore or try out Windows 10, the bits now, you can. That's the Windows Insider program. And that's the information here. So if you want to kind of sign up and if you have an extra device, would recommend on a production device. I went that route, regret it. So luckily I got this device now and kind of try out before I put it on my main development box. But do sign up, and the good thing about this is you get the latest bits, you get the ISO images, you can kind of pop it onto your test device, try it out. If you don't want to do that, you can go to Microsoft Azure, and they've got the VMs there you can kind of spin up and give it a try as well. You do have options. And the good thing is they are listening to people. There's a lot of inside programs where you can kind of list the features that you want, and they are actually listening to people now and bringing those features forward. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the developer story. And this is getting into the new Universal Windows Platform. And I'm hoping this is the final name because it was originally Universal Application Platform, and now they've kind of gone this way. So I'm hoping this is here to stay. So this is the concept of basically if you played around with Universal Apps, okay, if you played with 8.1, when you kicked off the project, you end up with 2 projects inside that. They call that 2 heads. So basically you have the tablet story project, and then you got the Windows Phone. So now with this new story, it's all one project now. You don't even have the shared project concept. It's all in the same project. So the nice thing about that is remove some of the complexity there for new developers getting into this space. All right. So this is why they have this stories, because we got all these devices coming out now. The big news coming out of Build was the new HoloLens. Believe it or not, you can develop applications for the HoloLens using Universal Apps now. And that's a good story there. And if you want to get a little bit more advanced, if you're looking at maybe Unity, you kind of do some of that. So as you can probably see, you've got all these different devices with different screen resolutions. So that's something you're going to have to kind of keep in mind when you're rolling out your applications. You have to kind of keep that in mind as the devices I'm going to are going to have different experiences both in the application and what you display on the screen. And the story here is you no longer develop to the OS. It's now, they've separated the environments, the platforms, to individual SDKs. So basically what I would do is add in a SDK for that platform. So if I wanted to program for the mobile device or the Windows phone device, I bring in that SDK or that extension to basically expose all the features of that device. So, camera, accelerometer, all the sensors available to that device. And same with the tablet as well. There is a universal extension which covers all devices, but that has just the common functionality across those devices. Okay? And the thing here they're showing here is it's an XML file. So the app contract or the API contract is the extensions I mentioned. So here they also talk about version. So the idea here is because they separated it, the cadence is they can roll them out faster without having to do this massive update they had to do in the past with .NET and Windows 10 with OS updates. So now they just release updates, the groups just release the updates for that platform, and you just update your program for the latest bits. And then you actually update this configuration file for now manually, but as a tool, as Visual Studio kind of matures, that'll be done for you manually. And I mentioned this before, the apps don't target the OS, they target the extension or the platform. And this is the target platform, this is the XML that we're seeing here. So basically it's, in this case, I'm looking at Microsoft Universal, which is across all the devices. And what I'm basically specifying here is the min version and the max version. So you at least have that minimum version for my application to work on that device. I can talk about that just yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. So in the original Universal as it came out, they created separate binaries for each of the platforms. Now the story is it's one binary, okay? So what that means is when I submit my applications to the store, I'm sending the source for that one application. So when the user of my application or the consumers looking for my application, so for example, if they go into the store on the phone, we get the phone version of my application. So the store kind of figures that out based on the device hitting the store, okay? Now, the kicker is you set the price once across all the devices if you go this route, okay? If you want, so if you're in that market of selling applications and you want to change the price from phone to tablet, then you're going to have to think about creating separate applications to do that, okay? If you go this route, the universal route, it's going to be one application, one binary, one price, okay? I'm hoping to change that because it'd be nice to kind of be able to kind of change the prices depending on applications. But the workaround from that is if you do what we call in-app purchases, so you can add this additional functionality between the two apps. That's one way of kind of getting around that issue. And this is again talking about the extension. So here, and in this example here, they're targeting the desktop, mobile, and the Windows Team extension. I'm not sure what that one's about, the story there. So yes, you create your desktop applications using Universal, okay? Getting ahead of myself, I always do that. So again, the story is, you have to basically keep in mind the idea of when I go from mobile to tablet, I have different real estate screen sizes to kind of deal with it. So I have to make sure that my controls adapt to different changes in screen sizing. And the good thing is, as we travel through the slides, I talk a little bit about the controls that help you with that. So again, it's the idea of responsive design. So if you're from the web world, this is going to be somewhat familiar with you. The other thing too is again the idea of when I go from tablet to mobile, that experience adapts to that device. And then the other thing is when I do create apps or screens to make sure that I account for that device. Okay? And I've got an example I'll show you later on setting up some triggers and all that to kind of keep in mind of when the screen kind of gets down to a minimum amount or a maximum amount, the controls kind of change. This is the idea here is you can see that on the phone, the buttons change to a certain extent. And again, the screen real estate changes. And on the desktop, you've got more space there. The buttons kind of change to kind of accommodate that. So that's kind of what they're getting at is that idea of if I maximize to a full, what they call the hub, Windows hub, the touch, the big channel, that my application kind of adapts to that screen. So you're not fixing the height and width of your controls. Okay? That's what we're kind of getting at there. So again, we're looking at a calendar application for the desktop and the mobile. So same application, but again, you can kind of tell that, the experience is going to be a little different because you got the menu, the full calendar here. On the side, you got kind of a smaller subset of that. Again, same application, is that it changes based on that device. Okay, and we're going to talk about the XAML controls here. And what I've got is I'm going to kind of focus in some of the new ones. So I've talked about split view, and that's the concept of the hamburger menu. So the concept of charms is gone. Okay, that the whole charms have now been replaced with this. So when you're getting into Windows 10 apps, the hamburger menu is going to be your main. Well, it's going to be one of many navigation ways of getting into your application. But if you're looking for settings, hit the hamburger button, and settings is going to be there now. So if you're looking for where that's going to be inside an application, that's where that's the default setting now. So you no longer have the charms, because apparently I was the only person that liked that. Everyone else did, so. And of course, everyone else won. I tried. The other control that I want to kind of draw your attention to is the relative panel. So I talked a bit about tailoring your UI experiences based on device. So relative panel kind of helps in a way of, what I do is my controls get anchored to other controls that share that panel. So basically what it is the relative panel becomes the parent of all my controls, and I put my control inside the panel. So what I do is I basically describe when the screen shrinks, my text box goes goes underneath my label, and the button kind of shifts underneath. So basically what I'm doing is I'm setting relationships between my controls. And what that does is I don't have to do a whole lot of UI coding. The relative panel kind of does the bulk of that for me. And this is going through some of that. So again, we got the wrap grid is that new concept as well. So basically what's going on here is when I shrink this grid, the triangle, if I get to a certain width, that triangle will now pop, will wrap to the bottom. So it's a very simple concept. Again, I don't have to do a whole lot of coding there or set up a lot of rules. It kind of does that out of the box. The view box, basically setting up another way of basically grouping up controls inside your UI. And you can set different rules based on how you want your controls laid out. So again, another simple control, kind of manage your other controls. Now this is the relative panel. This is what I talked about. Again, it's the concept of basically the relationship I have with my controls is I basically assign anchors to it. So basically I describe where the relationships of controls are inside the relative panel. And talk about the split view. So basically that, if I hit the hamburger menu, what happens is I get that menu, that pop-up menu on the side. That's the split view. And this is ways on which, so basically these are important to know because you'll use these depending on the screen size. So to make sure that you get the best experience as possible. And XML data binding they've improved it now. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details here. Again, this is just kind of like a summary talk. I'm just kind of just throwing a lot of things at you, kind of expose everyone to this. So we now have a concept of what they call compiled binding, okay? With the XAML binding in Universal apps in the old version, or actually it still exists in this version as well, so it uses a lot of reflection to get at the binding process. Here what's happening is I now assign my binding to what they call typed controls for typed objects. So the nice thing about this is if I make a mistake in my names and my XAML, the compiler will screen out. Whereas before, if I used the old or the current XAML reflection method, it would just go on merrily away and then just kind of suddenly abandon without any kind of error. So now what I get is when I compile it, I immediately get an error from the compiler saying, oops, you've assigned the wrong name, or you misspelled something because I can't find the name Tom in the person, or sorry, the name object in the person object. So it depends on a true types in the background. You still have the same kind of binding way, one way, two way. The other thing that you can't do is you can't change the binding on the fly. Okay? If you want to kind of do that, then you're going to use reflection binding, not this. What this also does is it speeds up the loading of the screen. Okay? Because we all know that using reflection takes up a bit of a hit on building up your UI through the screen. So if you use this method, that'll speed that up. So that's kind of one of the issues they're trying to solve there, is to kind of speed up the loading experiences on screens. And this is kind of what it looks like now. So there's some subtle differences here. So now we've got the concept of x:bind, and we've got a strongly typed object of employee, and this is kind of how I assign my binding to it. So not a huge change there, just some syntax change. You can kind of use compound bind. So that's all I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, so again, this is kind of highlighting the different bindings there. So these are the two bindings back to back. So there are things crossed out, which kind of makes sense. So element name binding. So basically, it's the concept of I have a control on the same form, I'm binding to it. I'm binding another control on that same form. I can't do that with the new compile binding. Okay. If you want to do that kind of binding, the same control with another control on that same screen, then you're going to use the one on the left for that kind of binding. Okay, this is kind of the concept of mind-blowing. A lot of developers didn't know what to think about this. So we have the concept of bridges. So Microsoft's whole thing now is leave no developers behind. And that means iOS developers, that means Android developers, Windows 32 developers, web developers, okay? So now we have these concept of bridges or project templates. So basically I can convert my Android code or my Objective-C code or my Windows 32 code or my web code, wrap it up into a universal app project and bring that across. Boom, mind blowing. That's an amazing job for Microsoft to be able to interpret Objective-C and make that work in the universal platform. So obviously what they're doing is they're intercepting the calls. So instead of using the Apple Map service, they're using the Microsoft service. That's kind of the concept that they're trying to do there. Same for Android as well. And this is the new diagram now with the bridge technology in it. So great news is you can now leverage some of your code and bring that across to the universal platform, bring those to the store or to your corporate environments, because again, you're going to have the concept of, so they're kind of breaking it up in the store. So you've got the public store, which is what Microsoft has. You're going to have your own storefront now, and you're going to have the concept of on-prem store. Okay, so you're not going to have a public store up on the internet. It's going to be a business or corporate store. So all employees now go to that store instead of the Windows store. So that's kind of nice because now you can kind of control what people install on their devices. And the nice thing there is you now if you use things like Active Directory, you can kind of control they can install the app, but they may not necessarily have access to use the app. Hey, you want to install it? Go for it. Go crazy. So again, the idea is to cut down your IT costs. So you don't have all the IT guys running around installing stuff. Like here it is. Just point to the store and off you go. Okay, so let's get into some code here. I'm not going to get too heavy on this. I got to make sure I watch my time. Okay.